So he's going to play a few songs for us. We're going to ask you some questions, talk a little bit about you. You got some fans here, of course, and maybe even some people that it might be new to Lukas. We'll talk about you from Denmark. Very colorful. Every picture you ever see, it's very colorful. It's beautiful. They have real mermaids.
It's because we don't post pictures from like the 8 months of winter, and but you've all seen some Game of Thrones. That winter is coming. We begin that talk in June. It's cold. It's dark.
Is it?
Well, I mean, in the winter, the sun comes up around 9 and is down again around 3. But that means in the summer, the sun goes down around 3.
It's actually true.
And you're from a city that's like has warmth and humidity and rain, and this guy doesn't like the Danish summer. He's like, oh, it's humid and it's hot. It's like where I'm from. And he's like, I miss winter where it's dark and people are dressed in coats. And when I meet a girl, it's a surprise what she's wearing underneath.
Whoa!
I never said that.
No, I'm just making. But in Denmark, it's easy because I can just start talking in Danish about him, and no one knows that it's not true because he can't really defend himself because he doesn't know what I'm saying about him, and it's super awkward.
It's even better when we turn his mic back off. He can't defend himself.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
Come on, really?
So we were talking a little bit ago, like he was giving me crap for being too old to do Instagram, and you were saying that even you are, because you just turned 30. Is that correct?
I just turned 30. Yes.
What's different? Hey, settle down with the wow stuff. Careful. What's different for you? What's new? What's new in your mind, your thinking, the way you process little things in life? Is there anything different between 20s and 30s for you?
Between 20s and 30s, no.
No?
No.
I feel like that was a
But
question.
then again, it's like, I got this face, right?
You still look 20. That's what's great about it, isn't it? Pisses us all off, doesn't it? But is there any kind of things in your mind, like literally, are you getting a little bit more wiser in your decisions? Are you choosing your battles a little more carefully and just not getting worked up about things as much?
Oh, I have a kid.
Yeah.
My daughter's 2.
So you don't choose anything at this point then?
I have a 2-year-old daughter, so choosing your battles is a wow. Because I imagine that she's getting it from me and her mom, and she's got opinions. And I'm gonna try and get the temperatures right, but on an 83-degree day, she's like, I'm gonna wear wellies. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Wellies are like rain boots, in case you don't know.
Rain
so
boots.
she's wearing those.
I was wondering, well, what do I say in American English?
I'll translate. I'm here for
It's
you,
like
pal.
it's the fall now. If I'd said autumn, some people might have been dropped off there. No,
Nah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So being a dad, you're enjoying it. It's going well. Things are all right.
I'm not complaining about.
Are
Being
you a good
father.
dad? Do you think you're a good dad?
We shouldn't ask me if I'm a good dad.
Because?
How would I know?
Well, in your feelings, in your true feelings. I mean, do you feel like you're
was
doing
like-
a good job? Because there is.
You're standing there and you're like, this is a decent painting, and then your friends show up and they're like, so, what's up?
Well, and I only ask, and not to get too crazy deep, but if anybody here has kids, I think there's that point where you're like, wait, am I doing this right? And that goes on for a couple of years, where you're just wondering, am I doing this right? But
And then I talk to my mom, and she's like, yep, still going.
Okay.
And then I'm like, oh my God. I'm going to literally be like 60, and I'm going to look at my kids, and I'm going to be like, oh, couldn't you have just involved yourself a little more during those crucial years?
Meanwhile, you're like, I'm in charge of a life. That's just crazy.
It's like you can literally ruin that. And then you see other parents, and you realize, wow, if one thing is raising my kid, can I start raising these parents? And you realize, no, you can't. You gotta let that you gotta let that ship sink and burn, and they will learn, hopefully before number 2. But it doesn't happen that way, because it takes 18 years to figure out you ruined your kid, right? And meanwhile, society has to deal with the president. At least back home. Nothing to do with you guys.
Yeah, we got our own problems. Calm down over there.
You don't even want to know
No?
Dude, come on. You should visit Europe.
Well, based on what you're saying, I don't want to go anywhere near it.
Children have opinions.
Yeah.
Moms go to work.
Do you have, back to the parenting thing, when you do see stuff, do you have other parents telling you, hey, you should do this or try this?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I guess it's like the battle of the different types of parents. I'm being told, oh, you shouldn't travel with your kids so much, and I'm like, human beings were nomads for I don't know how long before we decided to become sedimentary people. So I'm like, we've had agriculture for like 10,000 years. So maybe moving around with kids isn't a bad thing. At least my daughter is speaking 2 languages, and she's understanding that people come in pairs. If I say Thomas, she'll mention Thomas's wife. Like, she understands some of these basic social structures that, like, she's got her peers in kindergarten trying to fit their fists in their mouth. And you can literally see the difference between the kids that are traveling a lot and the kids that are not, and the kids that are being exposed to several types of cultures and ethnicities, and the kids that are not. And I'm on team expose children to everything.
Yeah. It feels like you're doing it right. Good for you.
I mean, we'll see. We're 2 years in, right? And it's easy now. She doesn't have siblings. I mean, you have more than one. Yeah. You're already laughing at me. Who do you think parenting is easy?
Is there plans for siblings?
Hopefully.
Yeah?
Hopefully plans for siblings.
Okay, good.
I mean, I'm from Denmark, where people don't have a lot of kids. When I say more than 2, people are like, uh-oh. But I mean, I'm the middle of 3. Okay. All the parents, or like all the families I knew growing up who were really fun families to be around had more than 2. Like, big families are fun.
Sure. When you announced this tour, it's really funny to see your fans online to the point where, I don't know if you go through a lot of these, but like the fans were so excited. They're like, yes, brilliant. And they are talking to each other and tagging you. Hey, let's go to Paris. Okay, you pay for the flights and hotel. I'll get the tickets. Then the person's like, okay, cool, I'll do that. Paris it is. Well, I don't think our friend Georgina has the money. Well, what about Dublin then? These people are having this conversation and tagging you on this. Is it kind of cool to go through this and see such diehard fans that are probably, some of these people are probably never even met each other, and they're probably connecting at the venue like that?
It's super weird.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I'm sure a lot of artists do think about this, and a lot I know don't. But like, concert tickets are pretty expensive. Mm-hmm. And at least for the biggest shows we've ever announced back home, like we made this category of tickets that's like way more expensive than the rest on these seated, so that I can get more of the cheap tickets. So instead of having a bunch of middle-range tickets, I made these really expensive ones that then make sure that we can sell really cheap ones, which are like, they're like $25 or $30 for a ticket. Because it's like, if my mom and dad, they never brought us to shows unless they were free, because that's 5 tickets, plus like a Coke and popcorn and a T-shirt.
And parking.
And then we're not eating for a week. And we're from Denmark, where we get, like, every 3 months, if you have a kid, you get, like, shoe money. It's a thing. Like, everyone gets it, no matter how poor or rich, because it's the idea of the equal society. Everyone gets the shoe money every 3 months. And it would literally be like when my dad took my oldest sister to see the Spice Girls. It was like No, I was super happy for her, and then I was like, great, we're having meatloaf for a week. And then, I mean, as a kid growing up, like I grew up, there's 2 kinds of meatloaf. There's meatloaf at the beginning of the month with bacon on it. And then there's meatloaf at the end, where the only thing that makes this meatloaf not be cereal is the fact that there isn't milk on it. You know what I mean? So yeah, when I see a bunch of people talk about which show they're going to go to, if they're going to fly from one city to the next and buy a ticket, I'm like, I never spent that much money to see another person in my life. Like, I only spend money to see other people now because I have a kid. I have to fly home. And I want to. Oh, sorry. That sounded so much like a joke. Yeah. It wasn't a joke. I meant it's like, I also want to, but I also have to, right? Now I just sound like a really stupid dad.
I feel like I should save you right now. No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, we were supposed to play 2 more songs. I don't care. I'm leaving.
I'll do it. Speaking of fans, though, some of our fans who are here today wrote down some questions. If you're cool with me asking you some of these. This is a good one. If you could change anything about your life right now, if you could change one thing about your life. I started off really hard, didn't I? I should have started off with the other one. Should have started, what's your favorite burger? Should have gone with that one. If you could change one thing, it doesn't have to be for like something good or that want to make it bad or good. It doesn't have to be.
But if I changed one thing, we wouldn't be having this conversation, and then I couldn't change one thing, and I'd still be here.
That's an answer.
I wouldn't ever want to change a thing. I mean, my father died when I was 23, which was a bummer. But I don't think I would be with my girlfriend now and have my daughter if he hadn't died at the time. This is a super weird answer, but you know what I mean when I'm saying it? Like, at least you guys aren't like 12, and because you can be stuck in a situation. I'm 30 now. You can be stuck in a situation with kids sometimes where you're like, "Wow, that's a smart question." I wish I could ask it to the people who are like responsible for our current predicament, like really rich people and politicians that can change stuff in the world. You realize kids they don't care. So why are you wearing those pants? They're ugly. I can't answer this question. What would I change? Wow.
We're all really wondering, wait, who are you talking about? Whose pants are ugly?
I'm just trying to take up time until you're like, yeah, we don't have any more time. How do you? I couldn't change anything.
Okay, that's a good answer. It's a good answer.
From Iveta Sanchez, do you get nervous on stage? I just did. And I only get nervous in front of not so many people, or when I know my mom's in the crowd. It can be gnarly. 40,000 people is nothing, and then mom shows up. And, like, I kid you not, this summer I spotted her in the crowd. Like, there's 30,000, 40,000 people, and I'm singing, I'm like, Mom. Because she's a music teacher, and you just... She'd be like, so on the fourth song, were you having trouble hearing the piano, honey? And I'm like, what song? You know perfectly well which song is number 4. And I'm like, well, it wasn't really the piano. Oh, you were nervous. I need to talk to your monitor guy about that. He needs to take the audience down in your in-ears. She doesn't really talk like that, but if she was American, she would.
And you know all of her facial expressions and stuff too. So even when you're watching her, she goes like,
you're like that. I hope it's the wine she doesn't like, because otherwise I'm really, I'm in for it. No, my mom's great when she likes it.
Being that this business is so hard, this is from Steven, by the way. Being that this business is so hard to survive in, who would you say has been your biggest help to stay focused, level-headed, and helping you stay on the right path? Who has been that person? Or I'm guessing for you, it's like a group of people. It seems like you're a group of friends.
Yeah, well, friends, the place I'm from, my family, but my spouse, mostly. The whole behind every big man is a strong woman isn't a stupid saying. Like, cliches are cliches for a reason, right? And yeah, several times recently, she was looking at my schedule and she was like, not a chance in hell you can do this. And I feel like I'm pretty good at my job. And she's like, you need to cancel this, and this, and no way you're going to go to Bangkok like 8 days before Christmas. And then I'm looking at it and I'm realizing she's stopping me from canceling things that are too late to cancel. And that's nice to have that in your life, someone to give you some boundaries when you can't see them yourself.
And not sugarcoat. It sounds like she doesn't sugarcoat either.
No. She's like women from Denmark. Whew. No, but it's a thing. Like women don't need men in Scandinavia because it's like maternity leave, paid maternity leave for 8 months. If you're studying, you get 12 months of paid maternity leave, like on top of your state-funded scholarship that affects everyone. It's pretty insane how much help you get as a pregnant person.
She's like, wow, knock me up again. I'm ready to go. Bro, I'm just saying. Sold.
When that said, it's a country that's like 6 million people, the size of Rhode Island. It's a little easier to maneuver. Like, it's not 51 states and like 280 million people. Like, wow. There's so many people here. There's twice the amount of Danish people, like in LA, just LA, right?
And they're all in the 405 at 5 p.m.
Or else they're in immigration when I'm coming in. And then I realized, no, these can't be, because I'm in the queue with non-Americans. I'm like, wow, if these are the amount of non-Americans in this country, whew.
As far as your process of writing your songs, does something come to your mind, and then maybe you write it in your notes in your phone, or do you record it into your notes?
most of everything I write is written in hand in these blocks, like physical notebooks. But it's a mix of things. Sometimes the music, sometimes the melody, sometimes the lyrics or the rhythm. It's all of everything can happen.
I'm imagining pulling out your phone and humming. And then just trying to write to that later. Is there a little bit of that? Or?
No.
No? He's like, no, that was terrible.
No, I think, speaking of the age bracket, like I think a lot of younger artists, I'm 30, it's not like I'm ancient yet, but I meet people and I'm like, wow, you wrote that song just on 10 different trips on the subway, being like, because people do that. And they produce a whole album off a laptop. And I realize, like, wow, I'm wasting money with microphones and real organs and string arrangements and gospel choirs and like...
I could just have Will and a Nord Stage 2.
Yeah.
Just follow him around everywhere.
But we don't. We get you play on a real B3 with a Leslie on it.
Yeah.
Why don't you have a B3 here? You should get a B3.
We all have a B3 organ, right?
Everyone has a B3 organ in their
when
living
you came
room.
in, yeah.
More fan questions.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the
that
interesting part about being here.
That was a fan question. This is another one. Denise Diaz. Where's Denise? Hi, Denise.
Hello, Denise.
She wants to know, at what age did you know you wanted to be a singer? When was that epiphany?
I know when I was 12, I wanted to be a rock star or a lawyer. And I studied law until I got my record deal, funny enough. Blame my parents. Yeah, my mom says I always sang, and I started singing professionally when I was 8. So 22 years of doing this.
Was there something that you saw, like something on TV, like a performance or something you heard that just clicked?
It's going to sound super arrogant when I say my mom says I was just really good at it. My mom, I just had perfect pitch as a kid.
Yeah.
I'd hear a song and I'd copy it.
What was some of the songs you remember copying? Like the youngest when you were young?
I have no idea.
Can't think of those? Okay.
No.
All right.
I sang a lot of Michael Jackson when I was a little older than very young.
Sure.
So I was just like young.
Does some of that carry over? I feel like, what's the song we were talking about earlier? Not a damn thing. What was?
Oh yeah, Not a Damn Thing Changed.
There's a little bit Michaelish in the way you deliver on the verses, especially the second verse.
You could talk about how the high register is delivered and how intense it is. Could be some Michael in there. The best description I heard of the song was my childhood friend Benjamin that I knew since forever. He said he was like Michael Jackson fused with Dr. Dre. And I was never prouder of a compliment in my life. Other than when my mom's like, yeah, you did good. And then when my granny's like, meh, then you're like, whoa. Woo! 90-year-old granny still driving, giving you a yeah? Nothing can bring me down today. They're all school teachers, by the way. Compliments are, whew.
That's a song you got to hear, by the way, if you haven't listened to that song yet. I know you...
Not a Damn Thing Changed.
Yeah, that song is really something. I mean, vocally, I would imagine that song is really... I don't know if you've had a chance to hear that song yet. It's a little different than what we've heard from you. And I almost feel, in a way, you can imagine like the end credits of a movie rolling on this. But the song is so big. When you hear it, you'll hear him talk about it. He's incorporating percussion, but in a score-ish kind of way. And... big orchestra, and that's the way that song feels. And it has to be not only vocally fun to sing, but also to play as well. We're not going to play today, though. Sorry about that.
You're probably bored a little bit on that song. You're just going dum 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 dum. That's how good he is. Will is so good that he's always bored playing with me. Can you show off a little bit, just like?
You can't even play one of your songs, dude.
No, yeah. God. No, Will is way too good to be in this band.
You better use your law chops and check his contract to make sure he doesn't run away.
I got this guy locked down. I wish.
Where's Ken? Ken, where are you, buddy? Ken's back here. What rock star have you not met but would be your number one choice?
Well, all the rock stars are dead, I guess. Well, if we look at it, I don't know.
Well, alive, living or dead.
Living or
past,
dead.
Sure.
I don't know. No, but it's also because I don't think like the whole term I think is a little misplaced. Like we aren't stars. It's just people that do something that other people have a difficulty doing, and therefore it becomes exceptional. it's just a song, right? Yeah. Other people write books, or like, I don't.
Sorry, Ken. I tried, buddy. I don't know.
No, but I like the question is cool. John Lennon and Bob Marley would be, but it had to be in one sit, like at the same time, in Kingston. No, or even better, like right here in 5 minutes, they'd be walk in, and then everyone have a question ready. I'm just saying, it's gonna happen.
Raquel, where are you? Everybody stare at Raquel. How has starting a family of your own influenced your songs? Is it hard to find time, even to take the time to do that, or even the content of them?
No, I would actually say that in terms of creative content, now I have a daughter, and there's a lot to write about, and you should watch out. It doesn't become a whole CD about your daughter. Just like on the last album, I tried not to make it about my dead father, all of it at least. I think it at least for a young man growing up in this day and age, it gave me a lot of perspective on life. Like I realized there are songs that I liked before that I don't like now because I have a daughter. Had I had a son, it would have affected me differently. I suddenly felt the world was an unfair place for women. And I hadn't felt that before. Especially growing up in a country like Denmark, where you're like this close to being gender equal. Yeah, I wrote a lot about like feelings that I now can express quite easily that I 3 years ago would have difficulty expressing. Sharon, it's because I miss you, okay? It's like, now it's just easy to be like, well, honey, it's because I really blah, blah. And you're like, suddenly you're dissecting your heart in front of another person and you can do it easily. Like, that's the main issue with becoming a father. It's like, I can express how I feel and why I feel it and what we can do to change that. Before you're like, I'm angry.
You got to give your daughter a percentage of these songs then, right?
She's going to look into that later. And you can't do that legally.
Can you not?
No.
When you register that with BMI, we should look into that. You should give her like 10%, something.
I think she should make her own money, but maybe that's just me.